What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for joining us. This is Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, joined as always by my co-host Andrew. Don't get it twisted, Lapachet, and this is the Mad Boxing Show, or Mad Boxing for short. Thank you so much for stopping by on this toasty, a little windy Wednesday evening here in Las Vegas, where IB is. We appreciate you guys' patience. Schedules kind of got a little out of whack this weekend, and we wanted to get a show crack-a-lackin' on Sunday. Unfortunately, I kind of forgot that I was going to play the role of Uber for some family members, actually friends of the family, for this weekend. Because for those of you who do not know, EDC, the big EDM concert festival, music festival, took place here this last weekend in Las Vegas, and boy, was it some shit, that traffic, good lord. But anyway, I needed to go drop off some people, and it happened to be in the evening, and I was like, fuck, I forgot to mention it. So thank you so much for your patience. Of course, we appreciate you guys. We knew we couldn't go too long because, man, the stories are just racking up. They're stacking up. Once something pops up, it's like, oh shit, we gotta talk about it. So as always, we appreciate you guys' patience with us. And I do want to say, shout out to everybody who listens to us, because we are at 195 subscribers, 5 subscribers away from 200. We almost got the 2C notes. So tell your friends, tell everybody. Just help us as always. It's an easy, inexpensive way to support the channel by subscribing and listening to us, of course. So we always appreciate you guys there. Okay, we got plenty to talk about here, guys. We wanted to talk about it on Sunday, but of course, obviously, we weren't able to get the show crack-a-lackin'. This weekend's top-ranked debut on DAZN. Boy, did they show up with a whimper and not even a damn bang. We're going to be talking about Keyshawn Davis and Nair Albright rematch that we were all clamoring to see. Not really. But I guess there was some sort of unfinished business, right? And they needed to get that going. Keyshawn looked kind of strange. We're going to be talking about that momentarily, because not only did he not make weight on the first attempt, but someone else on the card, Brian Norman Jr., didn't make weight. I don't know. We can trust these guys as main eventers, but I mean, maybe more so. Maybe we can give a pass to Brian Norman. I don't know, but I'm not sure if he's missed weight there before. But Keyshawn, holy hell, this is not the first time he's done it. And boy, was that fight ugly. So we're going to be talking about that and what's next for either one of these guys, because, man, it just seems like for whatever reason, these guys weren't able to make the weight on the first attempt. So in addition to that, of course, Brian Norman Jr. on the card as well. We had kind of an eventful in the MMA world, but yet still has to do with boxing. MVP put on the first major MMA event, I think the first MMA event period on Netflix. And damn it, did it do some fucking numbers. Holy hell. We're going to be talking about what could that potentially mean for future events, if there will be any. I have to assume there will be with the success of this one. And to kind of maybe shut down a couple of rumors about the attendance. People seem to not understand how those seats look on TV. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot that down, because I've done some research on it, and people need to get their damn facts straight on that. But the altercation that took place between Clarissa Shields and Alicia Baumgardner at that event, and Jake Paul's seat. What the fuck was that about? I swear he was right next to the damn cage. He had a little damn seat second off just for him. I don't know what he looked like he was a judge there. But anyway, we're going to be talking about that. And then, of course, the production in general. The fights didn't exactly, what happened, we thought what happened, right? But again, we'll be talking about that really more so the possible impact of the event, more so than the actual fights themselves. But we will discuss the fights also. Ryan Garcia on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, just spilling the beans. The cat's out of the bag. I mean, I guess we kind of already knew it, but no official announcement until then. Apparently, he's got Conor Benn in September here in Las Vegas. I know that was kind of like already on the docket. We knew that it was going to happen, but we haven't had any official announcements. And when I say official, I mean, from Oscar or Mike Coppinger, one of those kind of guys, right? But we hear it from him. hopefully that goes down, and we'll talk about it as that time approaches, because September is looking to be pretty damn stacked in the combat sports world in general, not just boxing. But we're going to talk about that. On the last show, we talked about Lomachenko making a return to the ring and the possible opponents that he can take on. And when I first initially read that, I thought, okay, well, he might be back for a little bit, maybe a one-off, kind of just to get a nice, major payday. And I saw some of the possible opponents like Gervonta Tank Davis, even Emanuel Navarrete. Well, I read recently that apparently he wants both of them. Holy shit! Not saying like either or. No, he's like, no, I want Navarrete first, and then I want Gervonta afterwards. Wow. Okay, seems like he's the matchmaker for himself. He's like, yo, I'm calling the shots here. These are the guys that I want. Definitely not going for the easy fights. Not sure how that will work. Of course, Gervonta at 135, Navarrete at 130. I'm sure Navarrete won't have a problem moving up. But okay, all right, I'm done with that. And then a look ahead, a preview of this weekend's card, the pyramids at Giza, by Giza, beside Giza, whatever the fuck it's called, that card. That is going to be taking place this weekend, Saturday morning. Actually, we're going to be talking about the start time there and some of the odds that I found. I mean, I guess we can go over those. I know there's going to be some pretty heavy favorites there, so it's not really that enthralling by any stretch. But regardless, it is definitely something we want to take a look at because we got some fights this weekend, right? So we're gonna talk about all that good stuff. Okay. As always, before we actually get cracking on the topics, a word from our sponsor, Health y Sol, or Health y Sol, tallow-based products, tallow-based soaps in particular. Make sure to check them out online. If you happen to find anything you want to try out and you want to purchase it, make sure to use the code MADBoxing10 at checkout and get 10% off of your purchase, or follow the affiliate link that's going to be in the description of this video, and you get the same 10% off. As I usually say, lavender patchouli is the specific scent that I love in the bar soap, of course. So make sure to give them a try. Once more, Health y Sol or Health y Sol, and make sure to use that checkout code and get yourself 10% off. Why not? All right. So after all that intro, oh boy, this is going to be a fun one to start with because, for a hot minute, Top Rank was kind of in limbo. They supposedly there were some people behind the scenes that are now no longer at ESPN, or no longer with Top Rank, but rather now with Zuffa Boxing, ironically, who supposedly sabotaged the deal, sabotaged a possible extension with ESPN and Top Rank, and that's one of the reasons why Top Rank is gone. So Top Rank moved, no more on ESPN, and they were kind of floating around. I guess sort of lending fighters, I guess we can say, here and there, guys who had no, streaming service and platform to fight on, and only recently have they finally landed with DAZN. So right out the bat, it's like, all right, cool. They did a lot of layoffs, right? No more lobster dinners for the executives. They trimmed all the fat as much as they can. They can stick around, and they landed on DAZN. We talked about it. It was one of those maybe Bob Arum's like one last save to save his promotional company, right? Like who knows how much time we have with him here, but he's like, before I'm out of here, I'm going to make sure my guys land on some sort of streaming service. And it ended up being on DAZN. And boy, what a weak card they started with. Holy hell. We're going to get crack-a-lackin' first with obviously the main event, Keyshawn Davis. And I apologize ahead of time because my brain wants to say Keyshawn Johnson 100 gazillion times. So I'm going to make sure I get it right. But his rematch with Nahir Albright, at 140 pounds, was kind of built up as unfinished business, with Nahir even beating Davis's brother on a previous card, and then the scuffle that took place in the locker room afterwards, right, where Nahir says that the Davis brothers attacked him. So it looked like there was some serious beef, right? Now, I've said this before, and I'm going to continue saying it. Whenever there's two guys, opponents that fight one another, and they got hardcore beef where they really don't like each other, we get one of two fights. We get one where these guys go at it tooth and nail and put on a fucking very fan-friendly brawl where they're just so they hate one another so much that they just want to whoop each other's ass. That's one outcome. The other outcome is what we got on Saturday, where it's almost like they just don't want to lose to that guy. They don't want to take any risks. They don't want to. They make the fight as crappy as possible. Almost like, you know what, I I don't really give a fuck about winning. I just don't want to lose to this guy. So they take no risk, and we get ourselves a lame hold fest. And we kind of got that with a 2-point deduction for Keyshawn Davis with a half body slam, sort of, on the ever holding Albright. And that's the fight itself. Before we even get to the fight, Keyshawn misses weight. A few attempts. I don't even remember. I think it was 2 or 3 attempts that he actually needed to strip down to make that 140-pound weight limit. Oh boy, there's plenty to say here. But Andrew, before we get into the aftermath, I guess. Welcome to the show. Of course, I'm going to bring you in here. When you heard/read that Keyshawn missed weight, yet again, and eventually did make it. So he did make it, but not on the first try. Did you think, oh fuck, here we go again? This bullshit. Now what's going to happen? Are we going to get another main event canceled?
No, I didn't think it was going to get canceled. Just because Albright his name doesn't carry any weight. He was lucky to be in this position, right? Mm-hmm. So I always knew that fight was going to move forward. A really bad look on Top Rank's part to have both of your main event guys miss weight. It doesn't matter if it was by a little, a few ounces or a pound. It's very unprofessional to come in overweight on the scale, have to go back to your hotel room or wherever to lose the weight and come back and do it again. Top Rank has always carried themselves as one of the best promotional companies in the sport. So I know Bob, if he's still carrying, wasn't probably happy about that. Bob's that age, he might not care. He might not even know this today, that they didn't make weight. But, sake of the argument, we'll say he's probably not happy about that. On Davis's defense, he never wanted this fight. Right, this was kind of pushed on him by Bob or by Top Rank, and he said it, before the fight that he didn't want this one. That might have played a role in him not making weight. Right, he really did. Look, and another thing, DAZN, seriously, stop describing the fight as this really shouldn't have happened. They open up immediately with the first fight wasn't close. We don't know why it was, why they gave it a draw or whatnot, and it should never been brought back. Well, that's that's how Keyshawn Davis took the fight, and Albright kind of fought that way, I think he just wanted to go the distance. He did not want to hear him and his brother give him shit if they were to get that stoppage, right, on him. Mm-hmm. So he played it safe. As soon as I had it 6-0, I walked. I'm sorry. There was other things on, and I moved on. Mm-hmm. The fight was lackluster, right? Mm-hmm. I will say boxing has a problem. I told you I was going back to the casino, which I did. And guess what fight wasn't on the sports book out of the 3 fights that day? There was There was 3 combat sports on that day, right? Mm-hmm. UFC Fight Pass had something going on. MVP opened up Netflix's MMA fight, and DAZN had little old Keyshawn on there. And they were taking money on the fight. It's on the sports book. You could bet on it. Yet here we are again, but you can't see it there. What the hell is going on, Miguel? It's a major problem boxing has, dude. It is a major problem we have right now. We are not. Are you even a professional sport if you're not being shown at the sports book? Horse racing is being shown during the fights. Horse racing, bro.
So just to confirm, they had the UFC card and the MVP card, but not the boxing, or did they not have
the MVP dominated. MVP was throughout the casino. Every TV.
So that is a problem, because both Paramount Plus and Netflix are paid subscriptions. They're not pay-per-view, but they're just paid subscriptions.
And
just
check
like
this out. The MVP card looked like the feed was through a pay-per-view subscriber. I seen this. So it looks like Silver Legacy is purchasing some sort of pay-per-view because that's the company. The little logo at the bottom is the company that distributes it to the closed circuit venues. So they bought it.
What the hell? Okay.
Yeah, there's something. I don't know if they're just picking and choosing what cards they want to buy now. Look, I've told you guys before, back in the day, it was a package deal. I don't know if Netflix, if Jake Paul already has somewhat of a package deal to sell these guys for the year. Like maybe he has a fight coming up. He doesn't have an opponent, but he has a fight. So you're getting me. You're going to get the Karina Carano card. You're going to get me and Joshua. Whatever happened this year, right, under the MVP banner, is he selling that to the casino and that, or the company that then turns around and sells it to the casinos? Because it used to be a package, right? That's why boxing was always in there, because HBO kind of dominated. So they would sell all the fights, whether you're on network or on pay-per-view. It was all coming in a package. Guys would totally buy into that when they would get those deals. We're missing that right now. We know the PBC has no package. What do they have? 2 fights a year, and they're praying that Tank shows up. You know what I'm saying? So they don't have a package. I think this is why everyone is coming together. I know we knocked Top Rank for, this was a last ditch effort to get him on a streaming network, but it's a good last ditch effort for all these guys to get together. And I think there's going to be evidence of that in the next few stories. So they needed to do this. Now they need to put together a legit fight schedule of a lot of cross promoting going on, where they're going to be fighting against each other to get interest back into this sport, and take that DAZN package then to the closed circuit venues and see if they won't purchase that. But for 2 weeks in a row, Miguel, I'm here to report that we were not being shown in the casinos. This is why our numbers are down. And I know I get it that the sports book doesn't generate closed circuit numbers, but somewhere, if they're being shown in closed circuit venues, somebody's charging someone to get in to watch the other ones. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In hot spots, that's where that's where closed circuit numbers are happening. Maybe it's on the East Coast casino circuit. Maybe it's the sports bars. Whoever is used to buying those to get people to come to their establishments to watch fights, we're missing that big time on the closed circuit side if we're not out there.
Yeah. And I guess it doesn't help with the performance that that Keyshawn put on this fight. I mean, again, when the casinos, or I guess anybody who distributes it, gets the impression to some degree that the fight is not going to be worth watching, then even more of a reason for them not to have it on there. Now, not to say that they're hardcore boxing fans and know who Keyshawn Davis is, but maybe they don't know who the fuck he is, and like, yeah, we're not even going to bother with this. And again, maybe it is a package, maybe it isn't, but the performance didn't exactly help his case. Keyshawn Davis here I'm talking about. Coming in overweight right initially. We'll get to Brian Norman here in a second, but having to strip down and get it on there, and then come fight night, I don't remember them mentioning how much he rehydrated, but regardless, he goes in there and puts on a stinker. Not to say that it was entirely his fault, because again, the way you mentioned it, Albright was just more than content to just last the 12 rounds. Oh, by the way, I want to say their first fight, Keyshawn won, but he tested positive for like weed or something, so the fight ended up being a no contest or some bullshit like that, which is the only reason why we're even having this rematch, as I understand it. So Keyshawn, as you said, and he said it himself, wasn't really into this fight, and it showed. That has to be the only thing. I mean, what else? He comes in with little to no motivation to make the damn weight. He does it. The fight itself looks sloppy. I believe, I forget what round it is, but there's a point where Nair grabs and holds on. Davis kind of ducks, and then he throws a jab. Nair throws a jab and gets his kind of Davis's head under his armpit, kind of like a guillotine almost. And Davis literally lifts the dude up and just kind of not slams him, but kind of chucks him off, right? And he lands safely. It doesn't look like Nair landed on his shoulder or anything like that. But as soon as that happened, the referee's like, "Oh no, fuck that, none of that shit." Goes and immediately deducts 2 points. 2 points, which I think turned it into a 8-10 round or 8-9 round. Nair ends up winning that round, I believe, but by a point only because he was already losing the round. But the fight basically continued that way. There was a moment even when Nair did the same thing to Davis and kind of sort of chucked him off. And boy, it was sluggish. It was headbutts. The referee was more of a more involved than we would like to see referees. Probably like to see them basically. The best referee is where the commentators barely fucking mention him. They had mentioned him several times.
I do like the double point though. The ref was like, "Okay, that's what we're doing."
Yeah.
Points. That was pretty cool though, because hey, they were in his backyard. I thought they were gonna brush that off and be like, "Hey, Keyshawn, don't do that." But that ref was pretty cool in there. He's like, "All right, I see what you're doing now. 2 points on him."
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Because it looked blatant as fuck. It looked like intentional, dude. Right? It wasn't like I'm just trying to get him off. And the funny thing is, afterwards, of course, Keyshawn has to play the role, and he's like, "What? Like, dude, don't fucking fade in or motherfucker. You know damn well what you're doing." But that's a good point, though. Like right off the bat, the 2 point.
Hey, we were close to having 3 fights that no one wanted to see. It might have been the first time ever we get a trilogy that nobody asked for. If Albright would have just grabbed the arm and said, "I'm hurt," here we go again. They played it safe. This whole thing. They had it in his backyard because they knew it would attract a fan base. They don't want to take him out of his neighborhood because I think everything Albright was picked because he probably fought for 100,000. I don't know his true money. I'm kind of cracking a joke there, but being serious at the same time. He was very cheap, and I think we know why. There's people out there overpaying right now. There's a transitioning happening in the sport. Everyone's kind of uneasy, right? Everyone doesn't know where they're going to be landing yet. So I'm not taking that fight until that phone rings or it doesn't ring, and then I'll talk to you next year, 2027 maybe. And I think that's what's going on a lot, and that's why we're getting matchups like the Albright versus Keyshawn, who just a few months ago seemed like he was on a whole different path, right? Like he was a fight away from being a welterweight superstar, and now we're back at lightweights missing weight and fighting in front of maybe $25 seats. Right?
Yeah. In his hometown, basically the only place that can sell seats. At that point. So the motivation looked like it wasn't there. On top of that, he didn't want the fight the way it has been pretty clear now that he didn't want it. This fight didn't really need to happen. So he comes in heavy. He does make the weight. Is this a matter of number one, motivation? Number two, it is legitimately harder for him to make 140 now, or is it a combination of both? Like it seems as though it's time for him to go to 147, but did he miss weight because it just wasn't motivated, or because it really is time for him to go up to 147?
Well, it's better to say he missed it because he can't make weight, right? You don't want to have the reputation of a guy, if he's not motivated, might not even show up. So I'm hoping it's not that. He seems to be on a class of his own skill-wise, so I don't think it has to do with motivation. This is his second time missing 140, or was the other one at 135?
135. He had just won the belt, the WBO belt.
Yeah.
His next fight was a title defense. He loses it. The fight continues, I believe, and he still wins. But this is he missed weight at 135. 2
divisions in a row.
Yeah.
All right, we need to slow that down. That's hard to argue. Two divisions in a row. Thank you, babe. So move him to 147. I don't know. It matters what the fights are at 140. Let's give him a motivational fight and see what happens, right? If he comes in, makes weight at going up against someone that's going to make him a few million, well, then maybe we have a problem with Keyshawn, because that is going to become a problem as he gets older. If he's doing this at a young age, what happens when it's harder to lose weight, right? So I'm hoping it's not that, but I guess we won't know until we actually see him in a fight that's worth the damn. Because I just, the way he said it, when he said he didn't want to be there, he didn't even want to be in that division. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Maybe he already knew he wasn't going to make weight. Who knows?
Yeah. No, that makes sense because um, the just seeing his demeanor, seeing his body language, like you can tell it was just like I'm just going through the fucking motions here really at this point. But it's not like I guess we can put him in against somebody that can motivate him a little bit, but what the hell? He's a professional, right? Like, is Top Rank going to be able to trust him in the future with these main event spots? Like, if we put you against somebody, it's funny. I've actually seen many videos of Oleksandr Usyk talking about this motivation versus discipline. Like, yo, you can't always be motivated, but you got to be disciplined. It's just how it is. So, like, if they put him in there against somebody else who doesn't have, maybe he doesn't have the same motivation to make the weight, it's like, you're not even going to be disciplined to fucking do it, yo. Like, what the hell? How are we going to put you in the main event spot when you're letting us know that, like, yeah, I'll put in the effort when I fucking want to put in the effort?
Yeah, put him in the main event spot, or even put the whole company on his shoulders.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
If he has this kind of drive in him. So yeah, no, all of that's not good. We would like to say that he's just outgrowing his body. It's the fact that he's done it in two different weight divisions that is kind of alarming. Now, they're probably going to be looking at him a lot closer as when they sign him to these big fights. You'll see Top Rank probably showing up a lot more around his facility to make sure he's holding that weight. If not, that could be a problem. What do? You put him in a division where he'll make weight? Do you just have him go to 147? So it'll be that, a lot easier for him to make weight. I don't know if that's the right answer for it. So he's talented. He's on, he's still undefeated. He got the victory. He looked good. So I say just gotta put him in a fight that's worth the damn to see what he does, to see how he responds. And maybe when he becomes champ and the money's at the championship level, maybe you get a whole different outcome. I agree with you. Down the road, that's going to be a problem though. As he gets older, if his issues really are mental on why he's not making the weight, or no motivation because the opponent ain't the right guy, well, this is a man to get Buster Douglas then, right? If you come in asleep. So yeah, this is all things that the promoters and their matchmakers, they're watching too. They're watching on him. Top Rank's pretty good at weeding this kind of stuff out. So this is strike number 2 for him. The dirty test is probably strike number 3. He's got to watch out right now. Are we playing football? Or are we playing baseball?
Right, because I mean, really, like the level of maturity that is showing is not mature. It's like the way he acts, and then on top of that, the stuff that he did in the ring, right, slamming the dude and stuff like that. Like, yo, what the hell? I mean, the last time
goes into the locker room to get into a fight.
Oh, yes, right, exactly. Instigating the shit outside, and that's the kind of shit that would like. I mean, if I remember correctly, Edgar Berlanga when he was with Top Rank, knocking everybody out, then having some tough fights where he starts biting the fucking dude. Right? It's like, yo, what the hell? We don't need that shit. Get out of here. So maybe that gets him off the damn Top Rank team. I don't know, but that kind of stuff, it isn't tolerated at Top Rank, and they usually crack the whip on that pretty hard.
And I don't know who's in charge of his production about his walkouts, how he comes out, the music he comes out to, but I love it all. He's got Christian music playing. He's got the family singing the song on some of them. I think one fight he had his high school band out there marching him out. He's had some really cool walk-ins of the ring. I'm all for religion and boxing too, so he brings that whole religious side. It helps mentor the young kids, right? There's nothing wrong with having the young kids get on the right path, right? So I'm all for that. And he does that. He does a good job of representing that side of the sport when he walks in. What's happening outside of the ring? What's happening when you're in the ring, though? We need to fix it. We need to tighten all this up. But I think he's fine. He's talented. And whoever is in his team that is setting up his walk-ins or his, like I said, the production side of the show, they're doing an excellent job. Can you imagine when these guys have millions of dollars to put on a walk-in? He'd be Floyd Mayweather type level stuff. You know what I mean? That was part of Floyd's show, was the walk-in. So yeah, I'm hoping Keyshawn stays on the right path, but time will tell.
Yeah, Yeah, no, definitely, and I'm hoping that it is just a matter of weight. It's just that his body's growing. Maybe like, all right, cool. We'll maybe we can cut him some slack there and um, go in that direction, and not that it's something else, because there's a lot of things pointing that it's something else. That it's his own motivation, his own discipline. Outside, and we talked about it last week with Adrian Broner, and it's like, yo, when you don't have that fucking discipline, this is what could potentially happen to you. It's a cautionary tale, and hopefully it's something that is brought to Davis's attention earlier rather than later, so he can get on the right track and course correct in enough time. All right, so co-main event. I think it was a co-main event. I forget. I always forget what order they were in, but Brian Norman Jr. back in the ring, taking on Josh Wagner. Now, if you're asking who the fuck is Josh Wagner, yeah, we asked the same question too. But boy, yeah, he came in and did his job, right? He came in once he was in the ring, he did what he needed to, but he himself had some trouble making the weight. The contracted weight of 148 pounds came in at 148.2. His opponent was 147.7 or something like that. Ultimately, he came back and he, pissed out or sweat out or spit out the remaining 0.2, and he made the weight. So at that point, it's like, all right, all is forgiven. He made the weight, and then goes into the ring and completely like mops the floor with Wagner. It was the performance that we hoped that he needed, right? This is the kind of stuff that you need after getting smoked the way he did against Devin Haney. So it's a confidence builder, right? We get it. All you need is one. Please don't make this a habit of doing 3 or 4 at this point. Just, you got one, cool. You got the confidence back. All right, cool. He's back. Not sure what happened with the weight there, but Andrew, if you had to guess what might have happened there, was it? I don't think it was a matter of motivation. I don't think, at least, but just a slight oversight. I'm not sure if he's ever missed weight before in the past, but slight miscalculation.
Slight miscalculation. Didn't he have kind of a changing of the team? His father left. Oh,
yes,
him, correct?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I'm not sure, depending on, I guess, who you hear, but basically that team is gone. He's in with a new team. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so things could have happened. The new team, they weren't paying attention. Look, they missed it by 2 ounces. That could have been a scale issue in the hotel room. Who knows? On that one. But it's not a good look for Top Rank overall. Like I said, one of our best promotional companies, if not the best promotional company boxing has. It was just a terrible look to see both main event guys have to go back to their rooms. Didn't watch the weigh-ins. Did they literally say, did the main event, co-main event come up first, and they're like, Norman didn't make it. All right, Norman, get out of here. All right, let's move on to the main event. You guys, main event comes out, and then it happened. Did it happen that way, do you think?
Oh, damn.
Or maybe it's in a hotel room or something where we weren't as embarrassed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I know that this is this has kind of been the what is it, the trend where they do like the weigh-ins behind closed doors, right? And then just have a ceremonial one in front of the stage. This one was not that. They literally weighed in front of the fucking people, which everybody there, and Sergio Mora and Manic said that they loved. Personally, I actually do like it as well. I kind of don't like the ceremony stuff. It makes sense. Like, they're coming with their pants already like dressed and stuff, right? And it's just like they've already had time to rehydrate, so they look differently, right? And then they hop on the scale that is not even really fucking plugged in, and it just looks dumb. I get the point, but I would much rather have it legit. Anyway, so they did it then. So yeah, as soon as he hopped on, and I actually didn't see a Brian Norman weigh in. I just wanted, because I read that he missed the weight, and that it looked like he wasn't going to make weight, talking about Keyshawn. And then when I tuned in, I specifically watched the Keyshawn weigh in. So I'm not sure how they did it with Norman, but I know that they did the whole ceremony out in front of people. Like the press was already there and everything.
Yeah, I totally agree with you too on the whole. I like it done live. The ceremonial one is not good. Seems fake.
Yeah,
it is fake. I know it's fake, but guys know what
it's just for the show. And you know what? And I don't. I mean, I can throw away this to more stuff to blame to the UFC, but I remember the UFC doing that shit first, man. I hated that shit. When I would go to weigh-ins, I'm like, what? And even as a media member, even though I never went to their fights as that, but when I would look online, I'm like, what the fuck is the ceremonial? What the hell is that about? And then I finally looked into it. And I'm like, man, what the fuck? So we're not even seeing these. Like, what the fuck's the point then? But yeah, I remember the UFC doing that shit a while back, and I did not like it from the fucking jump. But you are correct about the new team. Let me go ahead and pull this up here real quick. I saw it online. Brian Norman Jr. gets it back. It returns after that. Okay, so Norman's corner is now led by the highly respected Ronnie Shields, who replaces Brian's father.
Yeah.
No conflict with his dad. He just left the time. He just left because the time was right to leave. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know if you want to believe it, but he's going to say what he's going to say in front of the cameras and in front of the press. Maybe there's stuff going on back behind the scenes that we don't know. That seems to be more likely, of course. But yes, new team and maybe slight calculation with miscalculation, I say, with the scale. But he got the job done again against an opponent, Josh Wagner, who was very overmatched. Is he back? Is this it? Granted, it's not against a major fighter, of course, but he needed to get the confidence back. Is Brian Norman back? Or is this it? Did we see it? Like, all right, I'm making back a comeback after this knockout. Is he back to his normal ways, you think?
Back to his normal ways. I don't know. Brian Norman was how do they say it? A flash in the pan champion.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of showed up, got a belt, had that one big knockout in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Never really made noise over here. That went viral, so that was good for him that everyone got to see the knockout, but never really made a big splash in America. Devin Haney was like his coming out party, really, and that wasn't a coming out party at all. So bad that his dad abandoned him. His dad basically blamed him for that loss. I don't know if you remember that interview, but he was like, yeah, he didn't listen to me.
Oh, yes.
We knew how to beat the Haneys. We were watching. Like, his dad took it so personal.
He wasn't doing what we're telling him, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, his dad took the shit so personal and fucking basically just left the team. A very sad situation on his father's part. So is he back? Let's just say he's potential opponent for Keyshawn. Maybe something does the zone. Well, I guess the zone too, but Top Rank. Yeah. Maybe they were trying to work something out like that to try to build Keyshawn. Until we figure out what's happening, I don't see Top Rank landing a big fight for Keyshawn without Turkey being involved. There's just too much money I think Turkey's handing out. I don't know if everyone else can keep up right now, right? Pay-per-view is totally not – I don't even think they're an option. Look, pay-per-view is like for the low IQ fan right now. I mean, no one else is buying in, right?
So like the ones that would just buy without thinking like, oh, pay-per-view, cool, great, I'll buy it.
Yeah. I mean, streaming, it seems like that's what the MMA world is doing. Right. And maybe it's happening in boxing, too. But what I'm saying is our numbers are so low. The casinos are like, yeah, we're not even buying this shit out of here. Right. That has to be what it is, Miguel. They're everything else.
Yeah. And even this fight with Keyshawn, I understand it's not that kind of big type of fight. But I would have expected Zurdo and fucking Benavidez to have been there. Like that one really was like, oh, shit. That one was
on Cinco de Mayo, bro.
Oh, yeah.
On Cinco de Mayo. They literally had like fiesta fucking weekend time at the casino without the boxing,
Sons of bitches. All right, so maybe he's back, maybe he's not. I guess we'll have to see how he looks his next time around and make sure that he doesn't miss weight anymore. At least he looked pretty damn good. I mean, physically, and Norman normally he has that physique. He's a big dude. I know it's 147 compared to like the average person is small, but the dude is pretty stacked. He's solid. You know what I'm saying? So maybe slight calculation, nothing major. And he did look great in that knockout. But again, overmatched opponent. I get it. Got his confidence back. Not the best showing for Top Rank's debut on DAZN, huh? I mean, they don't release numbers for that, but very underwhelming. I don't know if if maybe the top-ranked team thought that with this kind of grudge match between Davis and Albright was going to maybe bring out a killer fight, and then maybe viewership might be higher, but very underwhelming card to say the least. No.
Yes, no, it was. Look, I was watching it on. Well, I got smart, so I was able to get the fight on the TV. So, in the TV in the bedroom. So I was watching it in my room, like at it if I was at home. Had to go get a universal remote to make that happen.
Oh, what? You didn't take your? How did you not take your remote?
No, I had my remote, but it wouldn't control the Samsung TV. To change that.
You change the channel on the TV itself. You go up there manually and go clack 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 clack.
It wouldn't. No. It didn't have that button. It didn't have it. Okay. It only had a power button.
I got a troubleshooting for you.
All
right. You know where the cable goes in, right? Where the cable box, whatever. You just unplug that one and you plug in the fucking other one. That's pretty much it. And
this
the
one
HDMI.
Was a screw. This one was a screw.
But they're all HDMI.
And soundproof. Your boy had to get that off too. MacGyver, baby.
Oh. You had to put together some like sodium and water and make that shit explode. Like, boom.
Telling me to glue some shit to make it hard so I can smell like glue. Yeah, I've dealt with childproof shit in my industry, so it's all pressure points. It was nothing big. But I think I installed it back better than the tech had it, so they can thank me for that later. Better connection. It worked, dude. It worked. So I'm all good. Right? You can try to hold your boy out from gambling. He's gonna find when there's a will, there's a way, Miguel.
Yes.
When there's a will, there's a way. So we were live. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the card going in though. So I wasn't expecting this to be a barn burner of a fight. And then Brian Norman Jr., I really don't know the young man. I know him from a viral clip. That's what I know him from. And then the Devin Haney fight, so there's not a lot going on Brian Norman for me, or at least a lot of, like, I have a lot of confidence that was going to be some epic fight card. So it is what it is. Top Rank has a home. Just got to see what the future is for these guys, man. Like I said, I like that they're all on the same platform now. I think that's going to be their alliance together to try to go up what's happening right now with Zuffa, with Turkey/Zuffa.
Yeah, Turkey's Zuffa.
Turkey's, there you go, Turkey Zuffa.
Sounds like a dish. Fuck, it's like, oh yeah, have you tried that Zuffa? Oh yeah, no, I don't. I get the turkey Zuffa. I don't get that the meat one. I don't do the beef one. I do the turkey Zuffa over here. Like, oh yeah, do with some pita chips. It's great, man. All right. Oh boy. All right. Yeah, I told my dad to watch it, and we had some family members come over to watch the MVP card, which we're going to be talking about here momentarily. But definitely sucks that this first outing with Top Rank on DAZN was pretty underwhelming. And hopefully next time around, now that we might have, I don't know how that's going to work with, and I'll talk about it a little bit later on with Lomachenko. But Lomachenko coming back, he's not with Top Rank anymore technically, so I'm not sure how that would go. But definitely need a much better fight next time the Top Rank's turn comes up at bat on DAZN to make sure that they can compete. We got to have some damn what is it called? Some fucking cross promotional fights at this point, man. Come on, Top Rank, Todd DeBuff, get on that shit already, man. If Bob Arum isn't the one pulling the strings anymore, because he just can't at this point, at least be you, bro. At least be you. Take the reins here and make some good fights, because this Keyshawn and Albright opener was, it wasn't even, you guys didn't even hit a single with it. It was like an out. Like, you guys didn't even make it to first base.
I would love to see what the viewership numbers are for DAZN.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, right? I know.
I'm with you there. I'm sure many people would like to see what the viewership numbers were. But that leads us to the second topic, where we definitely know what the viewership was with this one. MVP Jake Paul put on his first mixed martial arts MMA event on Netflix. Gina Carano making a comeback, and so Ronda Rousey, of course, they both haven't been fighting for. Let me see here. I think it was one was 10 years, one was 17 years, or some shit like that. I forget the specific numbers, but a long time. And
Insane.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was insane.
So much so that Gina Carano said that she had to lose 100 pounds. That's kind of crazy, but it was motivation. I'm sure the payday was definitely plenty of motivation. It was basically The Biggest Loser, essentially, the TV show. That's what it was. It's like, all right, I'm gonna go in here and lose some money. I mean, lose some pounds and make money in the process. The card itself wasn't the best. The main event obviously went short. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about thinking that this fight was fixed, that it was, well, yeah, fixed. That's kind of common sense. And then she wins the way she normally wins with the fucking armbar. So it isn't like it's anything out of the norm. It was a little dumb on Gina Carano's part to immediately throw a damn kick and not have any takedown defense right off the bat. But regardless, the fight went the way we pretty much thought it was going to go. There was a little bit of hope, maybe that Carano would kind of like land some shots, at least make the fight a little bit more competitive, but it didn't go that way. And I guess I could just kind of go through the main fights here. Nathan and Mike Perry, Nate Diaz and Mike Perry. Man, Nate Diaz is the Gabe Rosado of fucking MMA, man. A fly will fly by him and cut him open with that alone. And that's not to say that Mike Perry's punches were weak, because they weren't. Boy, they were fucking landing hard, and they sliced him open like a motherfucker. So, unfortunately, Diaz, actually both Diaz, Nate and Nick, have a lot of scar tissue around their eyebrows. So really any punch will slice them open. And ultimately the fight had to be stopped because of that cut. I forget what round it was. I think it was the ending of the first round going into the second where the fight was ultimately stopped. Mike Perry comes away with a victory there. Francis Ngannou taking on Philippe Lins. Nice knockout, right? Killer late kicks, and it was a fun fight for as long as it lasted. It was kind of how we all thought it was going to go. Again, this is kind of the case with most of these fights. I don't think anybody was going to tune in necessarily to think or thinking they were going to get a competitive MMA card. It was kind of sort of sideshow freak show-ish, the way Jake Paul does his boxing, right? It's him and Nate Diaz, it's him and Mike Perry and Tyron Woodley. It's one of those kind of fights, right? And boy, did it work, at least. A lot of people were talking about, I've seen this online, a lot of content creators, about the lights in the seats in the crowd. And that gave the illusion that they were actually empty, that the seats were actually empty. Now, for anybody who hasn't seen the seats at Intuit Dome, the light that they were seeing on TV is actually right at the edge of the armrest. So you would think, oh, if the light is visible, is because there isn't a body there blocking it, and therefore the seat is empty. That's what people seem to be thinking. But really, no. If you look at the armrests on the side of the chairs, of the seats, there's where the light is. So even if you're sitting in the seat, the light is going to be shining. And people had this impression that the light should be off. I've even read online that a lot of these seats are programmed to have the light off when it's an empty seat. So if anything, the empty spots, the areas where there was no light, is where there were empty seats, which was not the case. It was pretty fucking packed up in there, if you guys know how that looks. Let me go take a look at some of the stats that we found here online. It peaked at, I believe, what was it, 17 million? This is global. 17 million it peaked. And then was, I think, 12 million is where it was global. But then domestically, it was 11 and 7 or something like that, or 11 and 9. I forget the specific number.
Yeah, 9 to 11, I believe.
9-11 domestically. So that's huge. That's a lot of fucking people tuning in. The UFC card that took place on Paramount a few weeks before did slightly less, which is great numbers for them, but it did slightly less. It did like 8 million. So views, I'm saying viewers or households, I guess we can say. So I've been skeptical of how far this can go. And the attendance seemed to have been very well. I think I saw a statistic about 2 million at the gate, I think is what I saw. And with the viewership, it's pretty clear, at least after now, that Netflix is probably in it for the long haul with seeing the kind of numbers that they brought in. Whether or not Jake Paul can deliver more than once, at least in this capacity, mixed martial arts I'm talking about. Gina Carano said that she wasn't planning to fight again. Ronda Rousey wasn't planning to fight again. Maybe we can get Ngannou in the main event against another heavyweight who fought on that main event, on the main card. That fight is looking pretty damn good. I hope they do that. As of right now, it doesn't seem like they have any. Maybe they're just barely getting over the hangover of the success of the first event, so they haven't even thought about a second one yet. But there are fights to be made. I'm gonna throw this out here because I think even though maybe in the long term it's not going to work, but maybe in the short term it'll get them to the long term. In a few weeks, the 30th, Holly Holm is fighting Stephanie Hahn for the WBA lightweight title on MVP women's card boxing. Should Holly Holm win, I think MVP needs to set up a Ronda Rousey Holly Holm rematch. Who the fuck doesn't want to see that? I'm sure they'll do some pretty killer fucking numbers. I'll throw another one at you here. Nate Diaz should probably fucking retire at this point because his face is so fucked up. All right, let's do a retirement fight on an MVP card. People are going to tune into that shit. You best believe it. Put him in there against somebody who can most likely beat. You best believe people will tune in. On top of the other fight, the other heavyweight bout that I was talking about. But they have the avenue. Whether or not he's going to go down that avenue, I don't know. But Andrew, you mentioned you wanted to talk about this. You mentioned that there were some things that you wanted to say, and your input on not just the success of this card here, but what it could potentially mean to the UFC and the MMA landscape in general. So please, sound off.
First off, this was big for the MMA world because now they have another avenue.
Well, not yet.
What do you mean, not yet?
I mean, not yet, as in not everybody's ready to jump on.
I honestly know, Miguel, you're so out of touch with who this young man is, Jake Paul. He's the new in thing, dude. Miguel, at some point you just gotta agree. Everything this kid has touched has turned to gold. It really has.
Right.
Bro, 17 million compared to the UFC's 5 million.
Right. But remember, we started at 108 million with Tyson.
Dude, that's boxing. That's boxing.
But it's Netflix. Netflix wants the events.
Miguel, I'm going off of their own sport. I'm going off of their own sport.
But
that was 5
my point is that they were going. It's like boom, boom, boom.
No,
boom. They're going lower and lower and lower.
Netflix already knows boxing dominates. As far as in the closet, casual ass fans, boxing fucking dominates. There's no arguing that anymore. We've seen the best. No, I'm not gonna. No, dude. We've seen the best of the best from the UFC. Their highest number was 5 million. And listen, before we start chirping about the 8 million views that they're saying Strickland made, let's make sure Paramount announces those numbers. I'm tired of you MMA nut huggers, not MMA, UFC nut hugging fucking fan base out here, dude. Your numbers suck. Nobody's fucking watching. It's over. Numbers do not lie. If Paramount did 1 million less than Netflix domestically, fucking show it. Announce it on Paramount Plus because Netflix is announcing it on theirs. You can't lie. You can't say Netflix is lying. They didn't go to some little guys here. Release this, please, that we're doing this. Paramount, step the fuck up. You put $7 billion down. Show your cards. What's your viewership numbers?
So, I agree there. We have to hear it directly from them to get that to be accurate.
So with that number confirmed by Paramount, their 5 million was the only thing Paramount has ever. Well, no, the last one was 2.5, but that's not the high one. They lose half of their viewership in the second show. is their high mark that Paramount has released. Netflix just announced 3 times that. 3 times, Miguel. Do you know how bad it is for the UFC bosses when they go into the building with bro?
I don't think so,
$1
dude.
billion.
I get that, but
So
you got
so
this.
wait a minute.
This.
So now MVPs were $7 billion too.
Hold on, you're cutting out. You're cutting out. What?
So MVP is worth $7 billion now too.
No. I don't think MVP is worth $7 billion. I don't think that. My point is that they're gonna. This could very well be a round, right? You can't lose the whole fight just because you lose one round, right? Yes, it doesn't look good. You're right. I want there to be more MMA in the world. I don't want that to just be the UFC. But how many times can Jake Paul do this?
You didn't let me finish.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
You didn't let me finish. I'm telling you right now, if you don't think every young, inspiring MMA guy thinks that they're going to call Dana White over fucking Jake Paul, you think everyone under 25 years old is calling Dana White? You're wrong. They're not anymore. Dana White's old as fuck, dude. These guys all have bad raps. They treat their fighters like shit. They treat their wives like shit. They treat their fans like shit. They tell the family to shut up and watch the fight. That's what they tell you. You got to UFC. He literally tells you that to your guys' face, and you back this dude. No, I think the smart fighters? No, dude, Jake Paul. He's in, he's fresh, he's making millions, he's got viewerships, he's got the biggest platform in the fucking world
right now.
Bro.
Right now, this is the point. This is my point.
Guys, don't listen to Miguel right now. Miguel's off in Wonderland.
Dude, no, trust me. How much of a head start?
Netflix just announced Jake Paul was #1 in 3 fucking countries. In 3 countries, Miguel. Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America were all #1 for Jake Paul. Those numbers don't lie. Like I said, Paramount, if you have it, fucking show it, because you're getting murdered right now. You're getting murdered by fucking boxing, you're getting murdered by Turkey, and you're getting murdered by Jake Paul. And I'm sorry if none of that came in. I hope you guys heard what I'm saying.
We got it. Yeah.
But they're getting murked right now. This whole $7 billion thing is getting blown up in their face. They got paid like they were the big dogs of combat sports. And what have they shown? Shut up and watch the fight. That's what they were shown. Don't ask us any fucking questions. Fuck out of here, dude.
I'm just not convinced that they can do this long term, because I don't think. Here's the thing: Jake Paul goes where the money goes. If there's money to be made there, he'll go there. And if the money starts to dry out because there aren't the same things, he'll go to something else. I'm only using boxing because that's right now is what the example that we have. From the time that he got us on Netflix with Mike Tyson, and he got a fuck ton of viewers, it's been declining. I'm not saying it's not a fuck ton of numbers, because it still is a lot of numbers because of how high that first Mike Tyson fight was. But everything afterwards has been less and less and less and less. Now,
it's been the biggest numbers the sport has ever seen.
Yes, but
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
It's on the way down. And I'm not saying it can't go back up. I'm not saying it can't go back up. But my point is this, that there's going to be a point where what we're talking about, where they're not showing the fights here or they're not showing the fights there. Granted, it's Netflix and it's another story. But if there's a point, I just don't think that Jake Paul is in it for the long run. Right. And if there's a problem,
that's great. But
there's a point where
in women's boxing, Miguel, you know who holds the most views ever in America?
Yeah, I know, Amanda Serrano.
Okay. All right, and in men's boxing, do you know who holds the most views ever in America?
In what boxing?
In boxing, do you know who holds the most views ever in America? Yeah, and now it's everything, Miguel. So when are we going to start calling it what it is, man?
I wish, trust me, for the sake of the sport, I wish it was something.
That's the trifecta motherfucking Dana White wishes.
Okay.
He could say. To have the 3 most watched things. Oh, you can roll your eyes all you want.
All right. If this
Oh
is that
my
means
God.
all right. If this
That
means
is actually hate coming
no
through
no
right
no
there,
dude,
bro.
trust me. If this means that the UFC is in trouble, so what does it mean for boxing to have that be that? That it's equally as in trouble. If we're gonna go
No,
on and saying that
no,
it's like,
because
oh, it's dying
boxing
because it's
dominates.
not huh?
Boxing dominates. Boxing had 40 million on our low side with Netflix. They didn't even come close to that.
All right, but again,
Well, that's why we're not hurting. All we need is a platform. That's all we need. DAZN is not the platform. I
no, it's
told
not.
you guys. I
It's
told
not
you
the
guys
platform.
that a long time ago, and it was more evidence.
But they're all there
this
now.
weekend.
But they're all there now.
Yes, and let's hope they get that shit under control. But we have another issue. We have a man that's way overpaying right now. So I don't know where boxing is going right now because everyone wants money. Turkey's trying to buy out the whole fucking sport right now. So we'll see if DAZN lasts. But boxing, if you have it in the right platform, dominates combat sports hands fucking down. Hands down, nothing beats it. They're number one at the gate. They're number one in pay-per-view when pay-per-view was big, and now they're number one in streaming. Hands down, boxing controls combat sports. All you UFC fucking nut huggers can say whatever the fuck or think whatever the fuck you want. You are not even number one against Jake Paul right now. All right? So that's what the reality is. Boxing owns you, and now Jake Paul has come into your own fucking sport and took a bunch of fucking has-been fighters from your fucking roster that you said were no good. You turned down the Corona. Even though the lady's name, don't Rousey and don't be a dick.
You were cutting out, and all I heard was bitch. And then at that moment, everything that came in was bitch. Rousey and Carano.
Rousey and Carano. These two has-beens, bro, that everyone said were has-beens. This guy turns them out to 17 million views. He's the number one promoter in combat sports right now. There is hands down nobody is doing it bigger than Jake Paul. I'm not saying it. He kind of turned me when he got us on Netflix. Don't get it twisted, right? I've been kind of on the Jake Paul bandwagon here for a minute. The dude's touching everything and it's turning to fucking gold, bro. Leave him alone. Let him cook. He's cooking. Look, if these guys are smart, Miguel, they're going to go out and they're going to get all the new talent that's coming up. That's it.
All right. Let me add to that. A few years ago, 2023, Jake Paul signed a deal with the PFL. Right? They're on ESPN. To be some sort of fighter activist, or I forgot what phrase it was that he used, but basically some sort of voice for fighter pay, and then possibly even potentially fight in the PFL. This was 2023. He did none of that shit, and then basically the contract expired, and now he's gone, and now he's separated from the PFL. But here's the thing. The PFL has talent too. That's like the default number 2 organization. Why couldn't he have hit them up and said, hey, yo, I got to fill up my undercard. Give me some of your guys. We're still cool. We're on good terms. I don't know if they're still on good terms or not, but literally, why didn't they do that? They could have gotten some good fucking talent from them to put them on along with the other marquee names to get more attention on them. I don't get why he didn't do that. I don't know if they're on good terms with the PFL or not.
I don't think Eddie Hearn would help out Bob Arum. I don't think Golden Boy would help out Eddie Hearn. I don't think there would be a, hey, can I borrow some fighters kind of phone call from any of those guys. These are two promoters that are going up against each other in the same sport, so there is no helping like that. He might have been able to buy them, but why? When he took a girl who hasn't fought in 17 years and had 17 million watch her. That's promoting, baby. I'm sorry. That can't hustle a hustler. How much more of a hustler do you need than someone who took two women that were out of the ring for a combined 27 motherfucking years and turn in 17 million views? Turn in the biggest viewership the sport has ever seen. That's all. That's promoting. He's promoter of the year in both sports right now. Look, let me tell you guys, Dana White's fired after the Freedom 250 if the numbers don't surpass Jake Paul. I'm sorry. They're
Well,
going to fire
Dana
him.
White's kind of already checked out anyway. No, like he's kind of out.
No, he's not. No, he's not. When you read the comments, all the nut huggers in the UFC rely on this guy like he's fucking Jesus, like he walks on water, bro. Everything he says is golden. If he said they suck, oh, Dana said they suck. Oh, Dana said this. It's all, bro. Dana said it's on Netflix. That's why I got so many views. All they do is repeat what Dana says. Dana's not cool anymore. Dana's not doing numbers anymore. The casuals don't give a fuck about Dana. Now, maybe
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why he's not.
I think they cut him and they bring someone else. I think you'll have someone else announcing the UFC fight.
There's already a dude there. It's this dude. Campbell
I'm on
Hunter.
the internet all the time, bro. It's Dana White still.
No, I know.
I'm gonna tell you
on the front.
Yeah,
It's Dana White.
It's not the same response that he usually gets. There is some shit talking under it, like you don't sound excited. You already checked out. All that comes. These numbers, somebody's head's got to roll. It's not going to be the TKO CEOs. It's not going to be the guy on Paramount. So who the fuck you think's head's going to roll, dude? It's going to be Dana White.
If this continues, I would agree with you.
Oh, come on.
One time, I don't know.
They announced Conor McGregor on the walkout at MVP. You don't think they're fucking nervous?
No, I'm sure. And not just nervous, but petty to go that direction.
And then it doesn't even go number one. Oh, yeah, that was another thing. Would Nate Diaz ranked over Conor McGregor? And who else ranked over him? MVP that night? On those hits, you know how they do all that hits on social media. So they tried to counter because 250 fucking flopped. Nobody's even looking forward to 250. That's gonna flop. They come back with Conor and Holloway, right? And look at me, I know both of their names. Wow. Yeah. They come back with these two guys.
It warms my heart.
I know. I know. Hey, and I'm kicking them while they're down. That's why I'm doing it too. Right. Because this has been a long time fucking coming. It's been a long time. Yeah. They can't hide anymore. There's no now. All he can do is send his little bitch boys out there with fake fucking reports. That's all he has right now. But go tell Paramount to back your shit up, Dana. Go have Paramount go, yeah, we did number one in America and wherever the fuck Paramount is, they did number one in all of it. Have Paramount back you up, and I bet you they won't because they're not fucking happy. These numbers suck when you talk about $7 billion. And for you guys to come in and talk about the pay-per-view, where are they now? Is that closed circuit? When they said, did you see when they said that the pay-per-view for Strickland made 615,000 pay-per-view buys?
In the one that you sent me?
Yeah, it says 8 million watched on Paramount Plus, and then there's a pay-per-view number under it, and that's where it said they made their, they make serious money.
No. Well, I think they were comparing it to the other one. Hold on. Yeah, they were comparing it to UFC 300. That was Gaethje and Holloway. So no, it was just basically the last time that the UFC had, I think, a major pay-per-view, UFC 300, and then comparing the numbers that they did the pay-per-view buys to the viewership of the Paramount one.
All right, well that wasn't that impressive then. I thought they like had a split. Oh
no,
you could still buy it on pay-per-view if you didn't have Paramount.
I wonder, can you?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was.
Yeah, well, this isn't that, but maybe you're right. Maybe they do offer that. I don't know. I've never actually looked into that part, but yeah, no, this is just comparing it to UFC 300 in particular.
All right, well, then it's not that damn impressive. I was trying to throw him a bone there, but no. All right, well, the UFC has 2 dates coming up to match Jake Paul. If they don't match Jake Paul, I'm sorry, the transition has already started. People have been so upset with the way the UFC has been going anyways. This was a breath of fresh air. Now look, wasn't a big breath, right?
No,
what did we get? 5 minutes
of action? The production was the fights, but
no,
fuck, the production had a big fight feel to it. Like, and it had Mauro Ranallo on there. I know your favorite guy on there. He was on there, right? And I get it. And Kenny Florian was there. The people that knew what they were talking about were there. So I liked it. I dug that part. And they had the right people behind the mic, I guess I can say. But the fights, we'll get into that shortly because they're all one-sided. But the production felt like big fight feel. And I guess ultimately it was, I suppose. Yeah.
Silva was there. Pierre.
John Jones was there. Pierre was
there.
Pereira.
Pereira. there was a lot of UFC
Sure.
in that building. Legends, stars, a little bit of mixed. So I've got to say, when I watched it at the sports book, it had the same kind of feel as the UFC MMA fights. Bell rings, guy gets knocked out in a matter of seconds, everyone cheers, everyone moves on with their day. To me, Miguel, that used to be what the UFC thrived on, was these quick fights. You get in there, bang, bang. No one wanted to see two dudes fucking wrestling for 45 minutes. I remember everyone booing on the Gracie Shamrock fight, right? How long did that go?
Yeah,
fucking an hour or whatever?
36
It
minutes.
had one black eye? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, that one was a stinker, yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying. They, when I was at the sports book, no one was like, oh, man, that went too fast. Boo! No. They cheered. They got on with drinking. I got to tell you, as an observer, I think the MMA's still one of their biggest problems is they don't have, how do you say this without sounding bad? It was very light complected in the sports book, bro. And if you guys listen to me, I've been to the sports books many times for fights. A lot of my stories on watching fights happen at sports books. Boxing has never had this problem. Boxing has always been a sport that all of us diehards are usually in a circle somewhere in the corner, right? And we're talking fight, but it's a very mixed group of men. I did not feel that way.
Well, okay, so I'm going to throw a possibility at you, a hypothesis, all right? Here in the United States is where the UFC got started. Granted, it was with a whole bunch of mixture of nationalities, but ultimately when it got to the point where, Dana took over, it was light complected, as you want to say, right? It was the Randy Couture's and the Tito Ortiz's, and then I guess Tito kind of was an exception, the Liddells and the Brock Lesnar's eventually, right? So it was always like that. Knowing boxing, you go to fucking Mexico, and that is so deeply rooted in their culture, and then the UK, which is a different story. But anyway, and all these other like ethnic groups, it is very deeply rooted in those cultures too. So mixed martial arts is just very new compared to it. Only now do I go to Mexico or Tijuana and I see the MMA posters on the fucking telephone posts. It's just getting there. So I don't think it's even gotten to that point yet because of how new it is. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Wrestling is kind of an American sport, the grappling part at least.
We are talking almost 40 years though, Miguel.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at 40 years into professional boxing. How was that?
But two different times.
I know, it's the same. Glove.
Yeah, it wasn't a newspaper that you got your news from, right? News is pretty on dot nowadays. I'm just saying they need to fix that. That's something. Hey, look, I sent you the photos. You can see the sports book. I sent them to you. It's not overly crowded, bro. Sorry. No. There's not a lot of people there. It wasn't like this thing was hot. And what I'm looking at is majority one ethnic group there. And now there was some Mexicans by me. There was some Chicanos. They were on the side of me. So there was some other nationalities there, but overall 90% of that fucking place, I think it's a problem. That's why the numbers are so low. They not only need a crossover star, they need to embrace wherever they come from. They need to somehow make him the Manny motherfucking Pacquiao of that country that he comes from, right? You need to make him the Ricky Hatton of that country. Just make him bigger than what it is. You attract more people. But that's one thing that I noticed Saturday night at the sports book. And you've always heard of the UFC having this problem. I think the MVP, there was evidence of that with the MVP. I don't know if that's an MMA thing. It doesn't seem to be. It seems like when you're online that there's a bigger group of people watching the sport than there is. I'm just saying, at the sports book, what I noticed, and I've been through many fights. We're just, I've never seen anything like that, right? Because even when two Mexicans are fighting, it's not like only Mexicans show up to watch the fight, right? They're still there. We're all there. Everyone's there. All Americans. So the MMA world needs to fix. It needs to fix that. I don't even know if that's a problem, but they would help their numbers greatly. And I can say this now, Miguel, because boxing is dominated. Look at me.
Of course.
I'm going to kick him. I kicked the guy when I shot the motherfucker.
They're easier to reach with your feet, so you just kick them down. Why not?
Yeah. But so it was a good night for Jake. Look, Jake. He's done great things for both. It might be for both sports. Even getting MMA on Netflix could be a path to money that these guys just did not get with Paramount.
And I hope so. Mind you, that's the point. You want them to succeed, not with those kind of fights, but you want them to succeed. We want to have an alternative. I try to watch PFL on the ESPN Plus app, and it's on ESPN2. I don't have ESPN2. Fuck. How the hell can I not watch these damn fights? I hella want to watch this shit. And it pisses me off that they're not as easily accessible. I don't know why. Maybe it's just viewership. But regardless, that you want these things to succeed. But when we see this, it just comes across as a very sideshow, freak show shit that you can only do a certain number of times. That's why it doesn't seem as though it's something that is long-term sustainable.
The best advice I could give Jake Paul would be to maybe try to open up the MVP's MMA side at what the UFC used to be. Maybe you want to go out and get the best of different combat sports and what is the word? Like glorify their sport, right? When you have them in the ring, show how many black belts they have, show how many kickboxing titles they have. Get us the best of the best. Go out in the world and try to go back to what the UFC used to be. The UFC is not that anymore. Now it's the jack of all trades.
Yeah, sure.
They need to go tap into the real MMA guys, the guys that go to those underground fucking tournaments, right? Maybe you need to start reaching out like that to make it a platform where the best fight the best to show who's the best MMA technique in the world. That might be something the MMA world's missing. Big time. I know I used to like that, bro. I tell you that all the time. When they used to fucking be like, oh, he was a 5-time black belt in judo or karate, whatever the fuck, and this guy's a all-American wrestler or whatever. Like, bro, that's the best of two combats right there, right? Yeah, I know they're gonna punch each other in the head when they get down to the ground, but still, you know what I'm saying? It's the best of the best. So maybe Jake Paul can go back to that and not just follow the path of the UFC by going and trying to get all of their fighters, because he might come out with the same recipe.
All right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because Jake Paul might actually be doing that. Let me go ahead and check this out on his website, or on the Instagram account. MVP now casting fight games. Wanted elite amateur pro male and female fighters with big personalities, obviously the one TV, skills, MMA, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and karate. The challenge, social strategy, team skills, survival tests, exhibition bouts, win life-changing money. Now casting. I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know if this is some sort of Ultimate Fighter type contender type TV show, but when he says big personalities, I'm assuming it's because he wants to put them in front of a camera. But I saw this come up and I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm not even sure what I understand. They call it fight games. So I don't know, but you can apply now if you are good at any one of these martial arts at www.fightgamecasting or fightgamescasting.com. I don't know, but I'm going to send it to you right now through Instagram. When I saw that shit, I was like, hold the front door. Is this like the contender type shit? The Ultimate Fighter? Is that what they're trying to do? I don't know.
Like I would go out and get, and you're absolutely right. And that's what you were calling for before I go back to my dream. You were calling for a TV show.
Yeah,
right?
Another one to save it, kind of the way it did before. Yeah.
Netflix will probably be involved in that. I told you guys Netflix has the Tyson Fury show running right now. That thing's pretty cool. So Netflix is getting involved right now. They're doing and I'm announcing it like it's already been announced. I don't know if it is, but I couldn't see Jake Paul putting that on anything else but a Netflix. But that's great for the future. You're getting young talent, right?
Sure.
What he needs to look for now are like the Muay Thai guys that left the MMA because the rules were changed. What he needs to look for now are like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys that don't come to the sport because they can't wear their gis. Bring the gi back. Let Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
Damn,
artists.
you're going way back for that one.
I'm going way back. Yes.
Yeah.
When the sport looked like to be #1 in the world, or was reaching those things, right? Bro,
But it was
you know
still
how many,
it was still more spectacle than sport. It was still more like, oh shit, you can still pull the dude's hair. That's like too far back.
that yeah, I don't want just 3 rules.
Yeah.
No biting,
Right.
nut
No eye
crushing.
gouging, no fucking nut punching below. Everything else, if you can pull the hair,
no,
sure.
that. But
You can
because
pull the gi over the guy's head, fucking like Happy Gilmore that bitch.
I'm saying maybe to that, because that's their fault for wanting to wear a gi in the fight.
Sure, sure.
But if that's your weapon, go ahead and wear it. But hey, if the other guy pulls it over your head and beats the shit out of you, that's going to be in the rules to happen, because that's what this is. So that's a good one. I kind of like that. But if I'm Jake, maybe that's where you try to take your next event. Just give it a feel. Just give it a feel. Go out in the world and try to find the best of whoever's fight. Like, look at this guy that is fighting this weekend against our heavyweight champ, right? Vendir, this
Rico Verhoeven.
There's an easier one. Rico, the kickboxing champ.
Yeah.
The kickboxing champ. Go find someone like him, been undefeated for 10 years, has all these title defenses. Like, that's great for MMA. It's going to suck for him in the boxing ring.
Yeah.
But him in the cage, that would have sounded really cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, in boxing, you're like, who gives a shit? You can't do any of that here. In the cage, you might be able to kick a dude in the head. Can you kick a guy standing up still in the MMA, in UFC?
What do you mean, kick a guy?
Can you can't kick when they're on the ground, right?
Oh, you can't kick them to the head when they're on the ground. If they're on the ground, you can kick them in the legs, you can kick them in the body, you can knee them in the body, all that shit. But when they're on their feet, you can kick pretty much anywhere, with the exception of the balls, of course. But when they're on the ground, specifically on all fours, you can't like knee or kick to the head, but you can still punch to the head when they're on the ground. That's a different story.
So, like, if I'm Jake and Rico at least shows a good showing of himself, I'm immediately reaching out to him to match him with Ngannou. Right, that would be my first match for the best versus the best. Now you have an MMA crossover star in Ngannou taking on the legit kickboxing champion. 10-year, I think he said he's been undefeated for 10 years. Still, fights like that, dude. Muay Thai, Brazilian. We know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu hella turned on the UFC. A lot of their so-called, big time black belts, they just didn't do it anymore, because I know Lee used to talk about that one guy that was good at jiu-jitsu that left because they didn't allow him to wear the gi anymore. Maybe they all come back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they started adding like weight classes and stuff and like time, and they don't want that. They're like, no, we go until we're fucking done. It's like, yo, we have a pay-per-view time slot, yo. It has to fucking end. So they kind of had to force that on.
All right. Well, that's still going to be an issue. They still going to have only 25 minutes. We can't do anything about the time limit, because no one wants to see a 4-day fight. But the gi, at least they'll get their weapon back, because I know they used to use that, choke people out and shit. That was part of their game.
And it soaked up sweat, so if they get slippery, you were able to grab them a little bit easier because they weren't slipping and shit with all the sweat. There was a lot of stuff to that. All right. Anything else you want to add to that before we move on to the next one?
Let me see. No, just kidding. Nah,
let me throw one more dig to the UFC before we move on to the next topic. Oh, and then before I forget, shit, because we talked about it, at the MVP card, Alicia Baumgartner gets pimp slapped by Claressa Shields. So much so, I guess it was just one hard ass punch. I mean, mind you, a super featherweight against a fucking super middleweight. But to the point where Alicia said, "Hey, I might fucking take some legal action here, bitch. We can talk smack to one another, but once you put your hands on me, I'm pressing charges." Even MVP goes to the extent of banning Claressa Shields from future MVP cards. Now, look, I understand that Claressa calls herself the GOAT, and maybe she is. I don't say maybe. I'll admit she is. Her accolades and the accomplishments, the awards are, head and shoulders above anybody prior to her in the sport of boxing. So yes, we'll go that route. But conduct yourself in that high class. Conduct yourself like that. It's not the first time this happened. Remember, like her team with someone else's team at the weigh-ins got into it. It's like, what the fuck? That looks bad. And now she's doing this bullshit. Like, yo, no wonder your people act that way, because they say you act that fucking way, homegirl. really bad look on Clarissa. Even her, she even called out MVP, calling them prejudice and all that shit. It's just a completely bad look. I guess I didn't see the clip, so I'm not sure how much shit talk Alicia was doing, but I guess it merited a fucking backhand. I don't know. Andrew, what do you think of this? Did the MVP go the right route by banning Clarissa?
Their hands were tied behind their back on this one. Clarissa's not under contract. Alicia is. Alicia's sort of the face of their women boxing. I know the Serranos have done way more. Alicia is new. She puts herself out there a lot with her photos. Her out of the ring antics have gotten her a lot more probably views than what she's done in the ring. But it is what it is, right? It's still her numbers are pushing. She's getting more traction than anyone else on their roster, most likely. I don't know behind the numbers if Serrano and them might dominate her. I don't know about that. But on the outside, she seems like she's one of the faces. So you got to ban the girl that fucking touched your golden child, and that's what she did. With that being said, what is the holdup with MVP buying Clarissa? I don't like. Can we get this show on the road already? Like you say you're the face of women's boxing, and you don't have the best of the best on your roster. You got to fix that.
You know, Clarissa's last fight was on DAZN, and we know that MVPW is on ESPN. I wonder if that has anything to do with. Maybe she still has some sort of deal with DAZN or something like that. That she just can't jump ship.
And isn't she the one that had Espinoza as a manager?
Remember
that? Remember that she used to have one.
No,
she has one of the big network guys behind her. I think it's Steven Espinoza is her manager or something like that. That was like his first fighter when he leaves the networks.
Oh shit! Okay.
Is it Steven Espinoza? Yeah, I believe it's Espinoza. But watch, look it up. You'll see on her team. But is it that like he's got so many ties to like the old industry? He's like, no, we're not going to MVP.
No, so it's this Dimitri Salita guy. I think it's that guy.
No. There was still one of it was still Espinoza or something was doing something for her. You don't remember that, huh?
No, I don't remember that. I just pulled it up, and this is what AI tells me. Clarissa Shields is managed by veteran boxing executive Mark Taffet, a former longtime HBO.
Not Espinoza.
Okay.
Taffet,
yeah.
Mark Taffet.
HBO Sports senior vice president who ran the network's pay-per-view business for 25 years. Taffet has guided Shields' professional career since her debut. So that's her manager, and her promoter is Dimitri Salita.
And see, some of those HBO dudes went to DAZN. So that could be the connection right there. Either way, Clarissa might want to get away from that because soon Jake Paul is going to own all of her fights, just like what Turkey's doing, right? And we brought this up on the show about how are you going to get fights if they all start signing to one promotional company that you're not on? You're going to be Terrence Crawford out of the PBC. That's what it kind of felt like Clarissa made herself this weekend. She's now out of the loop big time. So you can call yourself the GOAT all you want. If you can't get a fight, how are you going to push numbers? You can't have all your fights in Detroit, right? So if I was her, I would have called, I know it's Taffet in them though. They've got to be holding her back. I don't know that's who it was. Yeah, thank you for that. Ain't that a weird transition? Taffet went from like HBO sports executive to working for Clarissa. It was hella weird when it happened, dude. It was like, what is going on? But yeah, I remember that. That could be the reason, the hold up for her not being with Paul. I think she wants to rethink that though, because Paul's on Netflix. I know women's boxing is on ESPN, but I think ESPN's only there on a certain budget. I think if any of these girls were to turn into a big fight, they probably move that over to Netflix. I just don't think ESPN has the viewership or the budget to put on anything like that. ESPN is kind of using them probably more as a gap filler than a main headliner.
Yeah, I would imagine that they would have them as that, and not like, oh, make sure to tune in this Saturday with our prime time fucking slot. Like, no, they're not doing it.
Yeah, they're like after Bass pro fishing.
Yeah. After competitive darts, after this fucking competition ends, and then competitive fishing, late night at midnight, we have MVPW3. But hey, funny you mentioned that because in a few weeks we're gonna have Stephanie Hahn and fucking Holly Holm on ESPN. So,
and that's a good call. I didn't think of that one, but I like it. I don't know how many times he could go back to the well with the old ass, matchups.
Well, we never got a rematch.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We're only going back to the well one more time with this one. Yeah. So that's it. Not too many times after that.
Is it a Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield situation where Ronda's done all this to get her name back up there? Do you really want to?
No, and she wanted to go out with a win, so I mean, it might not happen. But I just figured.
Oh yeah, you're right. She said she wanted to get pregnant. That was so weird. Hey, she was like, I want to get pregnant. She like immediately went to her husband. They just start making out. I was like, not here, you guys. You gotta wait until you get home. Jesus, man. Netflix went back to him like 3 times. They were kissing the whole time. Her husband must have waited a long time for that baby.
Oh yeah, that I saw bits and pieces of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but I did hear about that. And at her age, I guess she needs to. I mean, she has a kid, right? That's one reason she was out for a little bit because she did have a kid. But the older she gets, the harder it's going to get, and the more riskier it gets. So I guess either we get the rematch now or really never at all. I mean, again, I'm not saying that she's interested in it, but I just figured from a MVP promoters putting on that hat, I think that would sell. That would be a pretty big deal to have the rematch on a non-UFC card.
Yep.
All right, so moving on. Somebody decided to spill the beans, and one Ryan Garcia decided to let us all know, maybe beforehand. I don't know. I have yet to hear from Mike Coppinger or Oscar De La Hoya himself, or even Conor Benn. But Ryan Garcia says he will be taking on Conor Benn in September here in Las Vegas, and not just any date in September, but September 12th, which is that date close to Independence Day weekend. So it looks like we're going to get that. Now, I don't know as of right now if that's legit or not. He was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Fallon asked him the question, and he just flat out said it right there. It's not the first time that Ryan Garcia has said it. He said it a few times already, and it isn't like we're going to be surprised if the announcement does come later. But yeah, I have yet to hear it anywhere else, really, like official, I should say. I'm hearing rumors, obviously, but official, that's the first time I actually heard it really like on that national broadcast. And now the cat's out of the bag. Mind you, it's on national television. So I sure hope the fight gets signed and gets done, because then that would have been really bad for them to just basically jump the gun and announce it on national television, only for the fight to not actually go down. Andrew, hearing Ryan Garcia spill the beans and let us know that this is his next fight, were we surprised this fight was next? I mean, we weren't sure how it was going to happen, how it was going to work with Zuffa, and whether or not we're going to have the WBC belt on the line. But according to Ryan, the fight's going to happen. Any surprise?
Yes, I am surprised. I am surprised that Oscar De La Hoya, Zuffa, Dana White, Conor Benn, all of them said, you know what, Ryan? Why don't you announce our fight today? Right? Doesn't it just see? I'm always a little skeptical when it's these guys coming out announcing stuff when there's bigger fish in the pond or whatever that would want that moment. You think De La Hoya would have announced the big fight in September, throwing it in the face of Canelo, that he's back. Thought you could take my date. Now I'm back. Kind of,
it's like, go to Saudi Arabia. I'll be here in the United States. I'll be here in Vegas.
Yeah, the petty Oscar we know. Sure. The level of petty Oscar can do with Canelo.
He's a douchebag. He wanted to go to Saudi Arabia. We're doing it here in Las Vegas.
I'm the only one. Yeah, exactly. You're right on, dude. Yes. So I'm a little, is this a move from Ryan to try to force the hand of Oscar to sign the fight? Is this what this is? Another thing is Zuffa. When are they going to announce a fight? What are you, the big company that don't put your name behind anything? Because if you looked at the fight picture, it only has Golden Boy as the promoter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even look at that shit.
The first fight poster that they released, it only says Golden Boy and I think Rehad. But there's no Zuffa. You know, I was looking for it because I'm waiting for the Zuffa fucking announcement. You know, when are they going to come out and go, all right, this is the fight that we are totally backing? And are any of their guys going to be on the undercard? Are we going to see a Shakur? Are we going to see a Berlanga? This is the UFC type model, right? Where we get all the best fighters that they have. So this undercard to Garcia Benn.
Berlanga? Maybe?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay. Berlanga, Shakur. Who else they signed? Hitchens. Opatai. You see Opatai is running his mouth still. Every once in a while, Opatai's like, hey, man, don't forget about me, which is very true. He was the first to kind of help Zuffa cross over. They should be announcing something big for this young man here soon. Maybe put him on the undercard. That would help out tremendously for Opatai, his exposure to get on the card with Ben and Garcia. So because I know Ryan, I'm a little bit nervous that Ryan did this on his own.
Yeah, it kind of like the previous announcements of like he was done with Oscar, right? Or like, no, this is it. I'm done with him. I'm free agent or whatever. I forgot what it was, but he was talking about how he was basically done with Oscar, and Oscar was like, no, he's not. I mean, according to the contract here, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but you know, it's one of those kind of impulsive type of announcements, jumping the gun. I certainly hope it is because again, he did announce it on national television, but it definitely makes you raise an eyebrow that it wasn't Oscar that announced it or Zuffa's website or anybody else for that matter. It's like, yeah, we'll go ahead, Ryan. We'll give you all the credit. You go ahead and announce it. No, I don't think that happened.
Like he's the boss. Yeah, and it's dumb that the kid went on the Jimmy Fallon show. Look, you could do it on a podcast. That's one thing. You're very limited on the reach that you're going to, the potential damage you can do, right? But you do that on the Jimmy Fallon show, and now you might piss some big heads off. You know, Oscar might have got, both promoters might have got called in the middle of the night. What is this? What are you doing deals behind my back? You know, what if Paramount was like, when the fuck did we tell you Conor Benn can go over to Netflix? We haven't even seen his potential here. Or, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Zuffa's going to be, I wonder if they're going to be tied to Paramount. If there's going to be a TV hurdle we have to get over now with a potential crossover fight with someone that wants to be on Netflix to a Zuffa fighter that's already signed.
Conor fought on Netflix. He on the card with Tyson, so he's kind of already there. Okay. I don't think he has to. That's a turkey Zuffa.
Okay,
it's not like the Dana Apex, fucking Meta Apex Paramount.
Oh, but wait, no, Zuffa wasn't tied to that fight, bro.
Well, no, they said they were right, but they certainly fucking weren't. They weren't on there at all. But yeah. I mean,
we got to see what we. That's why I'm saying, Miguel, I need to see that Z on the poster, and then we'll see how this thing lays out. Because I didn't even think about where Zuffa, because dude, Zuffa is not signing all these guys, and Paramount's gonna have them all fight on Netflix. We're gonna have their warm-up fights only on Paramount. That's a terrible deal.
The early prelims on fuck that.
Yeah. So we will see. I like the fight, Ben versus Garcia. We need this to happen for us to move forward with Zuffa coming into the boxing world as legit promoters and potentially taking over even our headliners today because they have the money to do it. We need to see one of these fights happen already, and
with Zuffa plastered all over the goddamn place.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, right? They're coming, so at some point they got to show their colors and go for it. I think they're a little bit nervous. I still think Turkey's not answering the phone as fast as he used to. It just seems like there's been a lot of stalling on what was once seemed like a snowball coming down a mountain, right? Just getting bigger and bigger. Has really flatlined here lately. Even the gentleman we just brought up, Opatai's been out of the ring for a minute now. Just nothing. You know what I mean? Gilbert Ramirez didn't even like play with it. You know, like maybe we'll do a fight with them just to see if it was hot. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, Opetite, I think Opetite was March, so it 2 months. Nothing major, not that crazy out of the ring, but at least something to hear like, oh, this guy could potentially be on the next card. Some talks of him and a new fight coming up soon.
and especially because he's very limited on his reach of who he can fight, you think they would have a somewhat of a possibility of his next fight already out there for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Well, hopefully we get an announcement here in the near future, or maybe tomorrow we get a clap back from Oscar like, yo, don't listen to fucking Ryan. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Somebody needs to take his phone away.
Hey, did you notice on Jake Paul's comment section his De La Hoya was on it? I want to say Eddie was on it. Jake Paul was on it. His brother. It was like a weird comment section. All these like big time names are like throwing comments back at each other like regular people. You know, I just thought that was weird. It's like,
no, I didn't notice that. Yeah,
it was pretty cool. Throwing little fire symbols at each other, like like regular people.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't have a rich emoji?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's something special.
You don't have a special chat room with all the fucking elites that are not in the fucking, with the rest of the peasants.
No, I'll send them some diamonds.
Yeah. Yeah. Like put 3 boxing gloves on there. Go. Send them those. All right. So, let's talk about another one here. This is going to be kind of fun. I'm hoping this turns out to be true. We talked about earlier, I think last week, Vasiliy Lomachenko deciding to make a return to the ring. And immediately the rumors started going, spreading like wildfire of who he could potentially fight in his comeback. There's been some stuff that have been put out there. Let me go ahead and read this here from Mike Coppinger. According to Mike Coppinger, Vasiliy Lomachenko is planning another comeback later this year, with the former unified lightweight champion showing no interest in tune-up fights. Lomachenko is reportedly eyeing major clashes with Emanuel Navarrete and Gervonta Davis. Now, the key word there is and, not or. And meaning he wants both of them fucking scalps. According to what Mike says here, he says one of the names he's looking at is Emanuel Navarrete, who is on our pound for pound list. And talking about the ring, he says he has a 130-pound title. So after that, I heard Lomachenko could be looking at Gervonta Tank Davis. All right, so right off the bat, he's going after Navarrete. I don't know if they're going to be, maybe doing it at 135 because Navarrete is a belt holder at 130. He goes on to say Lomachenko is returning in the fall this year. He's only targeting big names. He doesn't want to fight any tune-ups, and that's not a surprise. This is a quote from Mike Coppinger. All right, so not doing the boots and his thing and wanting a couple of tune-ups. Like, no, I'm going to go in there with the big names right off the bat. When from the last report talking about his return, that reported his return, it was a day after his Top Rank contract had expired. So when I saw him potentially this fight with Navarrete, and I was like, oh shit, that's a pretty easy fight to make if they're both under the Top Rank banner. Well, they're not, at least not Lomachenko. Navarrete still is. So I guess maybe as long as he's on good terms with Bob and Todd LaBeouf, maybe he can make that fight happen for sure, right? That one seems like an easier one to make. The Tank PBC Amazon Prime side, that one seems like there's going to be many hurdles, and of course on top of that, who the fuck knows when Tank will come back and in what condition he'll come back. If he comes back and he loses, like, oh, it's because he was out of the ring, all the Tank sexuals, as I've been seeing that called online, all the PBC fan base. But man, Vasiliy right off the bat coming back, going for the big gun, saying, yeah, I want Navarrete first and then I want Tank next. What the weight class this fight is going to take place at, of course, we don't know. This is just preliminary talks. But, Andrew, both of those fights are killer fights right off the bat, aren't they? I mean, yeah, maybe Lomachenko's different. He's the Matrix. He's high-tech. But, damn, dude's going to the deep end real fast.
Yes, he is. It kind of tells us that he's looking for some fast money. He's not here for the long run. It also, I believe he's working with Top Rank. The Navarrete fight, obviously, is a Top Rank card, and I think Top Rank probably told him the only way they were going to get him the pay-per-view matchup with Tank was if he signed a 2-fight deal so they can make the fight with Navarrete, get some money off of him, and then line him up to do the PBC pay-per-view. Hopefully by this time PBC will be a part of DAZN. That's what everyone was speculating about a week ago, that the PBC, that's what our insider was tweeting, right? What's our guy? What's his name? I always like giving him shout out. The guy you always go to.
Rick Glazer.
Rick Glazer, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what he was kind of pointing us in that direction, that they were going to sign with DAZN. This would be a great coming out party for DAZN to get Lomachenko versus Tank Davis under their banner, and I just see that's what's being played out here. I think it is a 2-fight deal that Lomachenko signed with Top Rank to get this done.
All right. I can see him winning both of those fights. Navarrete is a very awkward guy, but man, when you get somebody as technical as Lomachenko in there, I'm not sure. I suspect Lomachenko will be dancing circles around Navarrete, really, and I can anticipate him winning that one. I want to say easy, but easier than a Tank fight. The Tank one, I think, is like the top. I'm looking forward to that one. I hope they can make it. That one would be super close, I guess, like well matched. We've been wanting to see that one for a hot minute already, and we just haven't been able to get it done. Lomachenko decided to come back and maybe make it happen. That's a dream for a fan. It's like, oh, this fucker's coming back, not just coming back for just a payday, although it is included, but he's going after a guy that we all want to see him fight against. That one is a little bit more evenly matched. Holy hell, 2 southpaws, that one would be pretty dope. But not to completely overlook Navarrete or anything like that, but that would be, especially with Navarrete's height and his reach, that would be an interesting one. That would be pretty fun. I'm hoping that will do better numbers on DAZN than what we saw with at least more interest, I should say, more than the fucking Keyshawn and Albright fight.
Yeah, the Navarrete fight scares me because of the age. If Lomachenko does not have the power to keep Navarrete at bay, if Navarrete can throw the 1,000 punches that he usually throws, and I'm exaggerating, but we know he's got a high output, there might be a potential for a bad night for Lomachenko. Maybe Top Rank still gets him by with the victory or a split decision, something like that, but I don't see it being as easy if he cannot keep that man off of him, because the confidence is going to build for Navarrete as that fight goes on, and he starts realizing that Lomachenko, while he might be fast and elusive, if I can corner him, he ain't hurting me, and he's going to be going to get that corner,
Yeah, that one would be interesting. I'm hoping, and I'm kind of glad that we're going to get that one first. That one was, I think we've even talked about that one a while back before Lomachenko, because I think there was a time where, where Navarrete moved up to 135 and it didn't go well for him, so he dropped back down to 130. So where this fight is going to land, I'm not entirely sure, but that one is interesting. I'm glad that they're going with that one first and not just blowing their wad and busting in that real fast and going immediately to the fucking Tank fight. Like, no, let's build up to that one. Let's get this one crack-a-lacking first. But man, ambitious right off the bat, and not just saying like, oh yeah, we'll see you tune up. No, I'm going after these 2 dogs right here.
And that's really what he's always been, right? I mean, granted, he stood in the Olympics hella long, but once he did cross over, he went straight for titles. No warm-ups. The Tank fight, I don't have him a favorite anymore. Look, the Tank is a funny situation because he has the fight with Lamont Roach where he did not look as good. Might have even taken a defeat that night. He has 2 very good wins against Barrios and Garcia, where he really showed the talent gap between him and all other opposition. Barrios went 12 rounds with Manny, right? I know it's an older Manny, but it's still a legend right there, Manny Pacquiao. And then you had Ryan, who's had somewhat of a decent career since the Tank fight. But in those fights, Tank embarrassed both of the guys. So Tank might be on a level all by himself, right? We just need the young man to come back to be dedicated to the sport. I know the Roach's fights there, but I think his talent, without the Roach fight, the talent is way further than the age that Lomachenko is coming with. So I think I would have Tank a clear favorite now in this matchup, where before it was a lot closer in my opinion.
Now the age kind of kind of scares you as far as like Navarrete goes. Well, I mean, fighting Navarrete. I mean, I think he had some sort of surgery or something. I'm not sure if he's had because right before he had some sort of injury before. I'm talking about Lomachenko before he fought Teofimo, and then afterwards eventually had the surgery. So maybe this time away helped him like heal. You know, he had a whole bunch of nagging injuries. It's like, yo, yeah, I'm older, but also like my body is actually like what's the word, repairing itself. So maybe he's ready. Now he just let all this time go by to recoup, and you know that's less miles on the odometer. But yeah, it's him being older, but maybe him resting.
That we've always mentioned that in all the years of doing this podcast. We've always seen Canelo did it the last time we talked about it, when they hit that point in their career where they go, it's either we walk away or we get all the surgeries, all the bandages we need, take some time off, and make one more run. Most of the time, the guys do that. They stay away from the game for about a year, get all fixed up, and do one more run at the big money. Possible that's what Lomachenko pulled on us when we all thought he was sincere.
Right. We all I posted a damn picture on our Facebook account of me running into him at a damn mall the weekend of Mayweather Pacquiao. I'm like, oh, nice, hell yeah, Lomachenko, right? I posted it saying like, you know, happy retirement, brother. No, motherfucker. He just said like, nah, I'll be back. I'll take that damn post down, motherfucker. Oh boy. Alrighty. So that brings us to the last topic of the evening. A look ahead of this at this weekend, the Pyramids at Giza. Oleksandr Usyk taking on Rico Verhoeven. Holy hell. I'm not sure what to think about this one as far as like the absurdity of it, the fact that the WBC was totally okay with just sanctioning this fucking thing. I'll send you a video. I saw a video of Mauricio Suleiman kind of in the hot seat. Marquez was asking him some hard questions about why they put Manny against Barrios, and then also gave what's his name, Ryan Garcia, the opportunity of the WBC belt, and he was like, it was the most political answer. Unfortunately, it's in Spanish, so I don't know if it has any sort of subtitles or anything like that. But it is the most political fucking answer he can throw out there. And it was Marquez and some other dude, and they're like, "Nah, bro, that's not gonna roll." They were totally like, you know, poking holes in his explanations. But point is, it's for the WBC championship. Usyk is going to be defending it. On that fight, or on that card, we're going to have also Shiraz making a comeback against one Alam Bajic. I don't know who that is, but Hamza Shiraz is back in the co-main event, and it's going to be the WBO super middleweight title. I guess Hamza got that belt, and then there's going to be a Jack Catterall on the card as well for the WBA regular welterweight championship. I thought we already had one in fucking Rolly Romero, but I don't know what the hell this means. I don't even know who the guy who is fighting, but he's fighting a guy who's 17-0.
And Miguel,
yes, sir.
Can we can say that in the WBA, if you're the regular or the interim champ, you are not considered the world champion, correct?
Yeah, it's a secondary belt.
All right, it's a all right, I just need it. We have some listeners who are a little confused. Shout out to you guys, but yeah, interim and regular do not mean you're a champion, bro. Sorry.
Both those times there was another champion in the mix. And also on this card, Frank Sanchez versus Richard Torres Jr. Fuck yeah, nice. That's going to be on this one. That one I'm totally looking forward to. But taking a look at this fight, I guess is really more so just the card and thinking about the odds, I guess, if we want to look at them. I mean, again, this is a bit of a unique one just because of the circumstances with the kickboxer, right, Verhoeven, who only has, as far as I remember, one professional boxing fight. That doesn't mean that his hands aren't heavy, and that doesn't mean that he can't potentially clock a motherfucker, because if you remember in Usyk's recent fights with Fury and Dubois, we thought, these guys can use their power and their strength, their weight, their natural size advantage, because Usyk is kind of naturally a smaller heavyweight anyway. This dude is big. Verhoeven's a pretty big motherfucker, man. So maybe he can get something done, make the fight kind of interesting. Whether or not that happens, of course, we'll find out. But I'm gonna pull up the odds here, Andrew. Oh my, Usyk, heavy favorite at -2,000. Oh, Verhoeven plus 750. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the results or the possibilities. The method of victory is how the BetMGM app has it. Oleksandr Usyk by KO, TKO, or DQ -400. Usyk on points plus 400. What? They don't think it's going to go the distance? Is that what that means?
Yeah, I'm knocking him out.
All right. Verhoeven by KO, TKO, or DQ plus 1,200. Oh, my. Verhoeven on points plus 2,500, and also plus 2,500 a draw. Obviously, we know who the heavy favorite is going to be here. Andrew, do you think Rico has, I wouldn't say a chance at winning per se, but a chance at making the fight competitive?
Only if Usyk allows him to. From what I've seen on this young man, he has no ring generalship at all. He doesn't move good in this ring at all. He's a kickboxer. He's flat-footed. He's looking to throw his kicks, not dance, not be, moving around, catching angles. At least what I've seen. His first boxing match, or his only boxing match, looked ugly, very ugly. His defense was putting his head down but keeping it on the line. That's not good. That means he's gonna fake the right and throw an uppercut, dumbass. Like, stop it. You gotta move your head. You gotta move out of there. You don't just duck.
But you don't think they address those things now that they're, at least, I mean, again, one training camp isn't nothing compared to the years that that Usyk has been training in this. But wouldn't those things, those little tweaks, be addressed specifically for this fight, knowing that he's not going to be throwing any kicks?
How many knockouts does Usyk have in his last 5 bouts? He's knocked out Daniel Dubois?
Yeah, twice.
Twice.
Went the distance twice with Fury, almost knocked him out.
Yeah. And Vegas kind of has him knocking this guy out.
Oh yeah.
Like if he's Mike Tyson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they see it too. They see the holes in his boxing game that are going to come out, really show out, because he can't stay behind his kicks to get him out of this. Or I have to say, in kickboxing, your whole approach to getting on the inside is different than in boxing because of kicks, knees, and all this, right?
Yeah,
so
distance is different because you can reach further with the kick,
Better way of describing that. Yeah, distance is different. So that's what Vegas is probably like, no, dude, once fucking Usyk does one little angle on him, whoop whoop, and now he's inside. Like, what just happened? So we will see. I hope he does a good showing, because I like my idea of him going over to fight Ngannou. I'm gonna pitch that to Jake. I'm gonna get on that Jake Paul. What is it? The comment section. Yeah, the chat room they're having. No.
Why? Because we know Jake Paul listened to this one. He just tell him straight up right now. Just send a message out to Mr. Paul. I'm throwing out that fucking Ronda and Holm rematch.
Yes,
Paul, I'm sure you're listening to me.
Yes.
So why not?
Hey, you know what? We got their second card. All right.
Yes. And I'm telling you, we can have a Nate Diaz retirement card. Retirement fight. Dude, who wouldn't tune into that shit? You know how many views they get him in there against somebody he can beat?
He just looks so bad. I hate drilling the dude. I never liked his stand up. When everyone was like, "Oh, he could cross over to boxing," I never liked that slow approach that he had. You know what I mean? But in this one, love the Diaz brothers. I know they're pioneers in the MMA world, but he looked slow. Like there was something off on this night. They don't want to see it anymore. Dude, we don't need the stuttering. We don't need, bro, you smoking weed coming into all that shit's got to stop. Like the way he was acting outside of the ring, and I know that's kind of his thing, but he's getting older. It really looked like you were high in the ring, bro. Like, stop it. Now you
Yeah.
just look brain dead a little. You know what I mean? Look like you're about to nod out mid-fight. So he's got to stop all that. Take the shit serious. There was serious money for him to get made. You know, a lot of people were talking about this ruin the third fight with Conor McGregor, a return to the UFC in general, and possibly a rematch with fuckboy inside the cage, Paul.
Jake
Paul.
Yeah.
It potentially ruined that too. That's another thing. Real fast, I want to get on with them. Jake needs to tell everyone to stop calling him out when he's the promoter. Ngannou, Diaz, and Perry. Like, what the fuck? All of you guys want a piece of the fucking boss? Stop it. You know, like,
yeah.
And I like that he told Perry. He kind of told Perry, "This is your night. You know, just be yourself, but we can get it on." But going into these things, no more of that. I mean, we'll talk about that. Or if they have something planned, great. But not all three guys on the whole undercard.
Right.
I want to thank Jake Paul, but you know, I'll kick your ass.
Yeah.
That's
right.
what Terry did there. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And even Nate Diaz is like, I want to get his fucking ass too. It's like,
yeah.
Dude, you can barely see. There's still blood in your eyes. Wipe that shit first, and then he's like, "I want to fight this motherfucker." Like, Nate, he's over there. Oh, I mean that motherfucker. Yeah, because you can't see with that damn blood in your fucking face, homie. You might want to double think that before you start calling him out.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one little thing I hope they take out of there.
But yeah, all right. So check this out. I actually found I went to the BetMGM app and I didn't see odds for Torres and Frank Sanchez. So I looked it up somewhere. It came up on FanDuel. Frank Sanchez coming off a win, but before that win was a knockout to the Caballel dude. Plus 290. Wow. All right. That's Frank Sanchez. Richard Torres Jr. comes in at minus 430. Holy fuck.
Those are not bad odds, though, to be honest with you. They have that a close fight. Plus 290 for the age of Frank Sanchez compared to the age of Torres. You think they have that closer than what probably many had going in. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. Torres is a very wild puncher, man. He's not technical at all. When he gets you hurt, he starts going for it. Cubans are very technical fighters. Punching inside punches, he might get flash knockdowns that no one sees coming, right? If Torres is not safe about how he approaches this guy, maybe Vegas is like, let's just, I don't know, we don't want to know, you know, get a upset because Torres kept going down, goes down 2-3 times, and I'm guessing it's a 10-round fight.
Let me see. Shit, I don't know actually. Let me see. Let me just double check.
No belt, right? If there's no belt, I'm guessing it's going to be 10 rounds.
Okay, there's no belt, but I think this. So there's this one website that pulled up the whole fight card because for those of you who ever post on Instagram, I hate when you guys just post the last name. Fuck, post the whole fucking name. So when I went to the Ring magazine card, it just has their last names on there, and it's like, yo, I want to know their first names too. Some of them I already know. Anyway, I went to this website called Tapology, and it's kind of like an MMA Wikipedia, MMA box rec sort of thing, and it has the fight lineup there, the main card, and that says 12 rounds. So I don't know. I mean, unless it's some sort of title eliminator, which it doesn't specify right here, but according to this website, at least it's 12 rounds. I'm not sure how accurate that is.
Yeah, no, and yeah, I don't know if it's 12. I don't know why it would be 12 rounds, unless it is a title. I thought it was only title fights that got 12 rounds, though. I thought everything under that would be 10. But either way, if it's 10-round fight, those can get real sneaky, right? Because a knockdown is pretty big in a 10-round fight, especially if you could come out fast and win 2 or 3 of the first 5 rounds. Now we're talking real math here for Sanchez. So that's why I think Vegas kept this fight close. That to me, that plus 290 is not. That's a safe bet there for them against Sanchez. They're saying Sanchez has a shot. This isn't like Richard Torres is the new Mike Tyson of the heavyweight division. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And that actually, it's funny that you mentioned that what's his name? Torres getting a little crazy, because he does do that. He gets a little antsy and he just lunges forward. If he's not careful, somebody like Sanchez might pop him. Maybe not stop him, but stun him. Make him think twice.
Yep.
Yeah, some couple flash knockdowns, especially early, because it always seems that Torres goes like balls to the wall very early on.
Yep, and a lot of American amateurs have been dropped early in their careers. So there's potential there for Sanchez to catch him green.
Yeah, catch him cold. Not even warmed up yet.
Yep.
All right, so we got that one. Then there is this Shiraz fight. I don't know. I'm not even sure if it's even on here. Is it even on here? Yeah, I don't even think they fought. Oh, they did actually. All right. So Shiraz is at minus 2,500. His opponent, Alam Bajic, I think I'm pronouncing it properly, his German, plus 800. Man, this is looking like a damn MVP card. What the fuck? It's like all these one-sided ass whoopings. I mean, I guess they're just trying to put on a show, but this seems as though it's a keep them busy type of fight for Shiraz. So yeah, I don't know that one. The Catterall is on this card as well, but the fight's going to be okay. I'm not sure how interesting that one's going to be, but I figured I'd throw in that Shiraz one. Similar, very one-sided. Looking at Shiraz by TKO, KO, or DQ at minus 400. Shiraz on points plus 350, so they anticipate him knocking his motherfucker out. Bajic by KO, TKO, or DQ at plus 1,400. Bajic by points at plus 2,500. And then again, 2,500 for a draw. Yeah, this one seems like a home run for Shiraz. Get him in there, keep him busy, and then maybe see what happens later on in the year. But this seems like a showcase fight for Shiraz. Oh, shit, what are you looking at?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm looking at his left hand.
Oh,
I'm going to be watching the left hand. I'm going to be watching they take the glove off to see how big that
the
hand
padding
wrap is.
right,
yeah, the padding exactly. If I'm Shiraz, maybe I'm even going to ask them if they can get a little camera time at the end to have them remove my gloves in front of them just to rub it in Berlanga's face. And maybe clear up your name, but then kind of poke at Berlanga a little. He seems like he likes making fun of that dude.
yeah. I did you see that video that I sent you of like when I think it was Manny and Floyd was getting his hand wrapped, and Freddie Roach was in Floyd's corner like looking at him like yo what the fuck. That was kind of tight. I thought I like those little altercations in the back like that. I like that.
And it could mean a lot, right? The thickness of the pad. None of us ever think about stuff. None of us, but casuals don't think of stuff like that. Freddie's watching everything. We want to see the thickness of that fucking pad.
Yeah, like how many layers does this shit have, yo? But for those of you who know, this card is going to be one of the gazillion pay-per-views that the DAZN Ultimate Package is wanting to share with us. So this fight will be on, not just regular DAZN, but pay-per-view. If you go on to the DAZN website, it actually says, or not the website, but the DAZN app, it says like, buy now, and on immediately the thing pops up. The card here, at least in the US, Eastern time, starts at 1 p.m. So that's 10 a.m. Pacific time. And the main event ring walks are expected to happen around 5:45 p.m. Eastern time, so 2:45 p.m. Pacific time. So roughly, if you want to tune in for just the main event, around 2:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when you can tune into the DAZN or one of the other apps that we're going to go into to catch it for us lucky folks. But all right. This is going to be a unique one. I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like. I'm not sure if I've seen any pictures of the building. I mean, I'm already seeing, some renderings of what the UFC White House card is going to look like, and we're still a month away from that one. Have you seen any videos or pictures of how this card is going to look, yo?
Yes, I did. Right. And it looks beautiful. It really does. They're going to have this ring in front of the pyramids. The guys are like walking with the pyramids in the background out to the ring. It looks like they're building a stadium. I guess it should be done by now, but it looks like they built an actual stadium around the ring itself with what looks to be like an Egyptian setting, the blocks or whatever, the walls.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna do like the typical like just big old 4 sets of bleachers and call it a day, and the fucking canopy on top with the lights and that's it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to look it up right now. You might find it on the Ring magazine. Go to Instagram, the Ring page, or Turkey's page. But I did see a photo of what it's supposed to look like, and I was like, all right, that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. Then they had the whole thing with both men being undefeated. I think Usyk, they said 13 years he's been undefeated, and this guy's been undefeated for 10 years. And that's where, that seemed like a pretty cool little thing. I know it's boxing, it's not kickboxing. That's why it would probably be a lot cooler if these guys were in a cage and they could do both of their combats, both of their techniques. Then that would sound a lot cooler. But it was a good selling point for us.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing how that looks. I mean, I guess I don't know. I have to assume it'll be prime time over there, right? So later in the evening, I guess the sun will be out. If you guys ever watch any of the old, boxing cards that took place at Caesar's Palace, basically there's like a whole bunch of tents in the background, basically, and there is where the fighters are, and they all have their own little like locker room. But it's basically these humongous tents, and there's where they come out of because they kind of don't have anywhere else. There's no, locker room. There's no arena. I want to say they built a little mini arena. I mean, not even really so much an arena, but just a little pavilion like that for Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz rematch. I want to say they built something like that in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh. So I thought they were going to do something like that again, but I have yet to see the pictures that you're talking about. I'm going to keep looking for them and see if I can find them. But that just sounds cool. If they're going to do it like walk like an Egyptian shit, that'd be pretty fucking badass.
Turkey also announced that the fight is sold out.
Wow.
Yep.
Sold out to who exactly?
I don't know.
Who went down there? Who flew down there for that shit?
He's got the fight picture up. It's them like hieroglyphics on the fighting each other.
Yeah.
And it says sold out. And there's a red stamp across the fight poster now.
Well, damn.
Maybe he bought them.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was gonna be just for the elites. He was gonna here's the tickets, y'all. You guys can buy them for however much you want to pay for them. But I figured it's gonna be for his people. You know what I'm saying? I like the UFC White House card. It's not gonna be fans. It's gonna be just fucking people that are in the circle, in his circle. I figured it was pretty much what it was. I'm gonna keep looking for it to see if I can find it because I'm really interested in seeing how that's gonna turn out.
The son, you didn't see the face-off pictures? They're on Turkey. Yeah,
that's one thing that I haven't seen is the face-off pictures. I haven't seen everything else. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what time tomorrow, but tomorrow is the final press conference. Today is Wednesday, so tomorrow we're going to see the final press conference with Usyk and Rico, and then Friday the weigh-ins, of course, and then Saturday morning/afternoon we get ourselves the fight card. So definitely looking forward to that and seeing how that turns out to be. And it's one of the May pay-per-views that Turkey and DAZN have for us here. All right. I think we talked about pretty much everything we needed to talk about. Andrew, was there anything that I missed that you wanted to talk about, or anything else you want to toss in before we call it a show?
No, that's good for tonight.
All right.
I think I've done enough yelling for one day.
we got most of it, so I think we're good. All right, so that is going to do it for us today. We will be back Sunday to get a crack-a-lackin'. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled program now that most of the stuff is out of the way, and we'll be talking about the results of this fight and seeing if there anything else happens between now and then. Until then, everybody, make sure to enjoy yourselves the rest of the weekend. Have a great weekend. For my co-host, Andrew, don't get it twisted, Lapiche, I am Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, and this has been the Mad Boxing Show. Thank you so much for joining us once more. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Take care. Peace.